do you think that Nvidia is going to be able to keep delivering? Because, you know, we're about to hit into their earnings, and it's going to be obviously so critical for the rest of the Mag 7, the rest of the markets more broadly, in the sense that we're expecting 12.5 billion in terms of revenue on the guide for the next quarter. Do you think we're going to get surprised, or do you think there's a reasonable chance that we are going to see that and perhaps more?
I mean, I think the market really wants to see it. I mean, if you remember, it was just, a few months ago, they reported disappointing earnings. I mean, when you think about it, their earnings are down year over year, but the guidance was so great. So this is a time for them to deliver on that guidance. So I would assume they're probably going to deliver. I mean, it's all you hear about is AI. Nvidia is definitely the key player in that component. But I think also they're going to have to talk about kind of use cases. Where are we going to see it? Because at some point, I think investors are going to want to see how they're going to make money from this. So I think that's it's going to be a key component. The numbers are important, but also it's going to be what are they going to talk about and how they're going to see this actually play out in the next few quarters.
Right. I was reading some reports, Michael, and I don't know how true are these reports on how some Chinese companies have already placed their orders for advanced GPU units and chips from Nvidia, in advance of circumventing potential export curbs that may also bring GPU units under their purview. How do you look at that piece of news, and how much is the Asia demand really a key driver for Nvidia?
I haven't read that report, but I would think obviously there's some trade issues obviously going on with the U.S. and China. So I would anticipate people are going to try to get ahead of that, the curve. The issue, I think, is how quickly can these chips be made? So I think we're going to have some of those issues. I think the demand's going to be there, but the question is going to be, can they get the supply? Again, I think Nvidia will tell that story. I would anticipate good earnings, but again, it's one of those things. I think AI plays out over the next, quarters and years. I don't think it's necessarily going to be a this quarter story because I don't necessarily see that happening, but I think the momentum is truly there. I think it's there for other names too. I don't think it's just a Nvidia. I think it's a Taiwan Semi. I think it's ASML. I think it's AMD. There's other names in this space that I think that people can look at and not have to just play one horse.
Yeah, but Michael, you know that Nvidia has got a lion's share, even more than that, in terms of interest from the markets, right? So while you might compare it to the other chip majors, chip manufacturers and the likes, in terms of the kind of premium Nvidia is enjoying because of its AI supremacy as of now, and pole position is in another league.
Absolutely. That's why it was up over 200% in the first 6 months of the year. But I think the market's already looked at that and said, okay, you're up 200%. That's why it's pulled back a little bit. But I think it's got more upside, but I don't think you need to put all your eggs in one basket. Yeah, if I was playing AI exclusively, probably would be the largest basket would be towards Nvidia. But I think it's a scenario where I think you can look very similar to what we had with cloud. I think it plays out over, decades, if you will, these years. And I think you can play it multiple different ways, Nvidia being kind of the core. But I think there's some other companies that you could look at as well.